in the realm of what are the best performing Air Jordan signature models of all time. And I'm not talking about any of the team signatures, I'm talking about the main flagships, 1 through, I mean, we're about to be on 41 now. But if we're looking at them as a whole, a lot of people consider these to be one of them, or these to be one of them, or even these. So if I was gonna pick one, and really I'm picking them all, but if I was gonna pick one first, which is what I'm gonna let you guys do, which one of these three should I do a re-review on in terms of overall performance, like how they stack up today?
Why am I kind of nervous for the 28?
I think that's the one people are gonna choose.
I know, but I just feel like as awesome as I've heard you talk about them, I feel like there's a possibility that
they're not that good anymore?
No, just that like a seam might pop or something.
Just wait.
Something.
I got thoughts on this. Hey, what's going on, guys? My name's Chris. Welcome back to WearTesters. Today we got something really cool, basically because, well, I'm gonna go and redo all of these reviews on these three models, mostly because they're the kind of like the ones that I feel like pop up the most in conversation as far as like what are the best performing Air Jordans ever. One of the first ones that is always brought up is the Air Jordan 28. First off, can we just reflect on how cool this package is? Like Jordan Brand doesn't do, they don't try to like wow you really, you know? And I will say that the 40s box is really nice, but like it's not as like, ooh, you know what I'm saying? So these right here, some people, I mean, everybody should know, they did come in individual dust bags, by the way, but this is the Air Jordan 28. This is the first of the numbered models to return. So when we're talking about the Air Jordan series, it stopped at 23. They went into the annual year number, so the 2009, which just so happened to be the first performance review on YouTube done by, and then there was the 2010, great shoe. The 2011, really cool. 2012, that came with a crazy ass box with multiple midsole options and all this stuff. It was, what a fun time, right? But then we got into this era where they decided that sales were dropping so drastically per year that they needed to reattach the annual number, and here we are with the Air Jordan 28. Not only did the number return, but I mean, this is a jarring, even back then, this is a jarring design. These are so sick. I got these all from a friend of mine real recently. He's taking great care of them. They're all brand new and dead stock. They legitimately feel like I pulled them out from that year that they released. Like they don't feel aged. They don't even look aged, but I am nervous. Like there's no sole separation or anything, you know what I'm saying? But like when we're talking about this shoe specifically, the most notorious thing was this guy right here. The Unlock Zoom Air was the first time it was ever implemented. And this stuff has popped on so many people. Will it happen to me? I don't know. It didn't originally. Instead, I had sole separation with the uppers here, and they ended up doing a change order, which is really like odd and rare. But I had given them my feedback. This is back when they used to listen to feedback. And the plot thickens! I'd given them my feedback that I got stepped on right here and I pulled my foot out from underneath the opponent's foot and it ripped right here the toe away from the sole. And these versions and stuff like that have been fixed. They're a little bit thicker, like this top line right here, the fuse, the TPU, hot melt, whatever you want to call it. It's thicker and stronger than what was on that first colorway, which was the black and neons, which might be the best colorway, I don't know. These also had a refresh model, or what they would call an SE, where they removed the external shroud and it was just the internal shoe, which was then turned external. I personally think that while the performance was still really good, that the original shrouded version was better and just better lockdown and fit. And then there was also the tooling being repurposed for Carmelo Anthony's shoe, which was the Melo M10s at that moment, or at that time. That was a more premium offering, believe it or not, than this, mostly because they used genuine nubucks and leathers, whereas this was all synthetics, textiles, and then this super crazy shroud. This is what made the shoe super expensive, by the way. I can't remember the name of the shroud material, but whatever it was, like Tinker was adamant about using it, and sourcing it was really expensive, which made the price go from a normal-ish price, which was still like right below the $200 mark, to I think these were like $225? No, $250. Retail price is still on there, bro. Crazy. And I think the SE got dropped down to $150 or something like that. Like that's how expensive this shroud was. But yeah, this is also one of the first shoes that I remember using that has the decoupled tooling. So the midsoles and the outsoles are two separate components, so you have complete 4-foot range of motion. The only problem with this though is that some people had an issue with the bridge right here having a gap, and so some heavier players, like they would buckle this area, the carbon fiber plate, which brought us into this era right here, which, I mean, this is what some people consider the greatest performing Jordan of all time. And this is the Air Jordan 29. It's very similar to this shoe, decoupled unlock zoom, although they did switch the zoom placement around to try and cover the popping and everything. They thought that the popping was due to the seam being placed here, which this I always had been like, why did you do that? Like, you know where the flex zone of the toe is? Like, I don't know, it just seems weird. So they flipped it around, but people were still popping these. So it wasn't like necessarily just the placement. A lot of people speculated it was the glue. They think that the glue was actually deteriorating the zoom bag that was encased in plastic. Very possible, but this guy added this thing right here at the midfoot called the tendril. What?
That's the other thing I kept thinking about as you were coming up with this idea, was the stupid tendril. I'm so nervous.
Why? The tendril's right there, it's good.
I know, I'm nervous. I'm nervous there's gonna be problems.
They feel brand new, bro. Like they feel like I just pulled them out of the box right now. I'm still worried. But yeah, this had the performance woven upper. This was Italian made and manufactured, like the process and everything like that. So much like the shroud on the 28s, the upper of the 29s was super expensive and it was very complicated as well. I remember specifically speaking with, I shared an Uber with the guy who created this, like the upper, the process. And I remember just drilling the heck out of him in the car because, well, we had time and I was fascinated. So it was really cool to pick his brain for like 30, 40 minutes or whatever. I do feel like the upper was underutilized in terms of, you know, color placement and storytelling. There were some really cool ones, but they were isolated to being PEs or super limited drops, which, I mean, I guess Jordan Brand's just known for doing that at this point, but that's dumb, right? Yep. But yeah, the Air Jordan 29 and the 28, I think, compete with one another. How good are they? Especially when you compare them to modern shoes today, like the Leaning Gamma, Gamma 2s, the Way of Wades. But yeah, do these stack up with something like the Way of Wade 12? I don't know. Let's find out. And last but not least, oh, I forgot about that. Look at this. This is when Nike would try, bro, or Jordan. 31. This is when they first started pulling inspiration from the past. And I wouldn't say first started, but like they were really doing it. So like this shoe is the 31, and so it pays homage or tribute to the Air Jordan 1, where it all started. This is the Air Jordan that I believe is what I call the near perfect Air Jordan, because there was one major flaw with them and it was just the traction, which is so weird because with a shoe that pays homage to the Air Jordan 1, a model that features the greatest traction of all time, how did you mess up that bad? Now, is it the rubber compound? Is it the traction pattern? Is it the fact that they use full length unlock zoom and there's this weird channel right here, and then when you apply your pressure, it presses that zoom unit in, so maybe you're losing contact with the floor. Like, what is happening? That's always been a question of mine. Hopefully I can figure it out this time. But yeah, these guys right here I just think are highly underrated. And like I said before, the near perfect Air Jordan. It's got everything. You're close to the floor, crazy cushion. This had an iteration of this material, but just mixed with leather, which was so cool. Seeing this transform from a knit or a woven to leather in the back is really dope. The giant Jordan logo is one thing, but on the interior collar, you got the Wings logo returning. You actually had separate pieces here. So you had like a enclosure with neoprene on the inside, and then inside of that, you had all of these awesome Achilles notches, and there's multiple of them. What a cool shoe, dude. Like, this is sick. Nerd alert! What? And yeah, I just kind of miss this. Like, I'm not saying that the 40s and the 39s and the 38s are like horrible or anything, but for some reason these have a weird type of nostalgia, even though they're still so recent. A different type of nostalgia than the original stuff, you know, like from the 80s through the 90s and early 2000s. It's kind of strange. I do wonder though, like, is this some people's version of those? Like, is the 28, 29, 31, is this like your 11, 12, 13? There's no championships one. I'm just talking about like your game. So yeah, that's where I leave things off with you guys. Which one of these three do you want me to retest and review first? Actually, if you wanted to pick the order, and then whichever comment gets the most likes, that's the one that I'm gonna go with. And if I could figure out how to do a poll somewhere, maybe I'll do that to keep it simple. But either way, I think that this could be fun. 28, 29, 31, where do we go? And with all that being said, do we have time for a question of the day? Can it be quick?
Yep. What is your favorite implementation of Zoom Air? Strobel versus Unlock?
Ooh, that's interesting. Well, it's got to be full length first off. Second off, while this feels great, like the unlock system, especially with it being full length, like if same thing with these two with the isolated like 4-foot units, they feel like pistons. Like when you're applying pressure, they spring back really strongly. It's very interesting, and it's because of the channeling of the rubber and stuff. The rubber kind of moves with things, whereas the Zoom Strobel is directly underneath the insole and like closest to your foot. So you're feeling the popping sensation under your foot instead of with the foot, if that makes sense. Which one do I prefer? I don't know. I kind of don't prefer either of those two. I kind of just like the original just embedded zoom. So if I'm going to use this as an example, like this is embedded zoom. It's embedded in the midsole. There's going to be then a strobel on top of that with an insole on top of that. And I really love full length of this. I think that when this is done properly, it's mad comfortable and it gives you the best of everything. It gives you the spring and the sensation that you want. It gives you the impact protection that you need. It keeps you as close to the floor as possible, which is great for mobility, as well as a little bit of stability depending on how the tooling is made and manufactured and designed. So like this to me is the greatest thing ever. And I just feel like there's more models like this that like prove that than anything like this, even though these are fun. They really did push the boundaries of what you could do with Zoom Air, which is how we ended up with the strobels and stuff. And I still consider that to be like nothing short of genius, like creating the Zoom strobel, getting this a little closer to your foot. But I still prefer the feeling of this for whatever reason. But what about you guys? Have you tried unlock zoom, zoom strobel, regular embedded zoom, whether that be isolated like heel and forefoot or articulated? Man, there's so many different iterations that like Nike doesn't even like mess with anymore. It's kind of sad. The Met units, and there's bottom loaded. There's all kinds of stuff, man. Like Zoom is so good. Zoom is the greatest cushion of all time, when done right. But which version of it do you prefer? With all that being said, don't forget to pick one of these three. Which one should we review first or re-review first? I'd love to know your guys' thoughts. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you guys in the next one. So until then, y'all have a good one.